All right, Jesse on Fire, welcome back to the channel. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, okay? Now, this is a thing that I promised you guys. I promised you guys that I was going to crank out content. I told you I would do, I'd do a video every single day, okay? And I try to do that. I try to do a video every single day. So, I will acknowledge sometimes I'm doing videos just like, okay, I got to do a video. And other times I'm like, ooh, this is a great topic. And this is going to be one of those times, all right? So, again, dude, I just did a video today in a different shirt where I talked about two solid topics. One about Khabib saying that he wouldn't do the Ultimate Fighter with Conor for $5 billion. And another about, and the other topic was about Jon Jones, obviously being on steroids. So I have checked the box today, and yet I'm doing another video, and I'm probably going to step on this one's progress, which is actually trending pretty well. So, just not very well advised. However, this is a topic that needs to get talked about because this is really fascinating, to be honest with you. So, two things. One is actually in response to some of the comments that I got on that video, which were about, I said that Khabib owes a lot to Conor, okay? And that he is the megastar that he is because of Conor, which is accurate. And we're going to talk about that more in depth. But also what I want to talk about is I watched Khabib's full interview. That's unrelated. That's a BB gun. But I watched Khabib's full interview where he talked about Conor, and he said something else that was, I can't believe I hadn't even seen it. I was like, oh my God, like this is a video in and of itself. He talked about Tony Ferguson, and he said Tony Ferguson's career is over. And he said Tony Ferguson's done. He's like, there's no reason for us to talk about a match. He could fight Islam Makhachev, and if he beats Islam Makhachev, then maybe I'll fight him. But Tony's done. Tony's done. He took too much damage in the Gaethje fight. Okay. Now that's a big thing for Khabib to say. Okay. He was like, they also asked, before I do that, if you like the content, subscribe, ring the bell. If you're a person who, watches my stuff and has never subscribed, just subscribe, man. Throw me a bone so I can see the progress. Okay. It's all about progress. But anyway, so he said that he doesn't think that Tony Ferguson is going to be able to come back and continue to win because he took too much damage against Gaethje. First of all, he's about to fight Gaethje, right? He's saying that Justin Gaethje beat Tony Ferguson so badly that Tony Ferguson's never going to be the same. Can you think of anyone else who's had that conversation? Right. Okay. Now I'm going to recap that for people who have not heard me say this. Now I've probably said this on my channel probably 4 to 5 times specifically about Tony Ferguson and the Justin Gaethje fight. Okay. But I'm going to say it again because it's important for people to understand. Okay. Now visualize the human body. Okay. Now imagine that there's not a person working it. Imagine it's just like, it is what a human body is and it's just kind of standing there, right? You have a skull with a brain in it and you have a spine that connects the nerve endings into your brain. Okay, you got a spine, the nerves go into your muscles, your brain tells your nerves what you want it to do, and then it moves around. Okay, so the connections between your brain, your spine, and your nerves are 100% critical to a person's reaction time and their ability to behave in thinking quickly, right? Seeing what's happening and reacting quickly. Okay, milliseconds of adjustment in the wrong direction will change a person's ability to perform in the octagon 100%. Okay, like you have guys that are out there that you see them on the bag, man, that guy looks amazing. Incredible technique, and look at his power. You know why they're not in the UFC? Because their reaction time is not world class. Okay, it's not world class. Okay. Now, Tony Ferguson was not only world class, he was the world class, top of world class. Now, he has a style where if you reduce his ability to respond from here down to here, so like, let's say this is world class. Okay. This is world class. And here's where Tony was. And you beat him down to here. So he's still world class, but he's all the way down here now. Now, all of a sudden, his style mixed with his inability to react quite as quickly as he used to becomes a huge liability, okay? And so picture that human body, like I said, spine, skull, brain, nerve endings, muscles, okay? And then imagine Justin Gaethje just laying into it, bap, 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 bap. Whap, whap. And just imagine the damage that you're doing to that thing when you're getting punched in the skull. Bang, bang. The damage, right? The damage. Boom. All the stuff that's getting jerked around is your spine and your nerve endings, okay? That is what is getting damaged by a person mashing you in the face, okay? That is the damage. That's why a person like Muhammad Ali, who does this into his 40s, comes out and he can't talk and he can't move well because, oh yeah, well, it was genetic for Muhammad Ali. Okay. I've heard doctors say that, Muhammad Ali has nothing to do with the fact that he fought into his 40s. Are you out of your mind? Like, it's literally like a person who gets like run over by a car and then they're paralyzed. You're like, yeah, well, it didn't really have much to do with the car. Like, it's a genetic thing. It's like, oh yeah, it was a genetic thing, huh? The fact that I watched him with my own eyes get his head pulverized well into his 40s, beyond when his body was going to recover well, just unrelated. Yeah? Unrelated? Okay, so Khabib would know that's idiotic, just like I know that's idiotic, and Khabib knows what I know, which is that Tony Ferguson is unlikely to recover all the way back to where he was after a beating like Justin Gaethje. I will say this, Tony Ferguson is inhuman. He is inhuman. And I also saw him talking about, that he's going back and forth between ice baths and warm water, which is not like rocket science as it relates to recovery, but he is concerned about his recovery. And if there's a person who could take a beating like that and get all the way back, it is Tony Ferguson at age 37. But most people will not be able to come back from a beating like that, okay? There are so many examples of guys who were never the same, and you're like, geez, what happened to that guy? He just doesn't have the killer instinct anymore. No, he's not as good anymore, okay? Kelvin Gastelum comes to mind after his Israel Adesanya fight. He can't win now, right? You think it's because he doesn't want to win? Or do you think Israel beat it out of him? He beat it out of him. Rory McDonald, Chuck Liddell, right? Like these guys that get into these wars where they're dragging themselves out. I mean, dude, they never recover. Some guys can. Robbie Lawler, right? Some guys can, though. I mean, Tony Ferguson has not been a person who's taken that much punishment, throughout his career. I mean, he's gotten hit. He's got a really strong chin, but that's the first time that he's gotten beaten like that. So we'll see. But the point is, Khabib is on my side, where he thinks he's not going to be the same. I'm rooting for Tony. Let me just make that perfectly clear. I am absolutely rooting for Tony. Rooting for Tony. But the common sense is not, that he's going to be as good as he was. And he's 37 years old. Anyway, so there's that. Now, let's talk about the other thing. So I said that Khabib owes Conor, and I got some pushback in the comments. Like, you guys not understand? There's nothing controversial. It's a fact, okay? When the fight game, you take hype from other people. That's why Chito Vera, like the fact that he got to fight Sean O'Malley was awesome. Everybody knows his name now, right? Because he got to go and beat that guy. That's why people should be begging to fight Khamzat Chimaev if they are looking to get some hype. Doesn't like rankings? Who cares about rankings? Okay, that's not what drives the fight game. That's not what fight. And Michael Chiesa said that he wouldn't fight Khamzat Chimaev because he's not ranked, so he's not going to move up the ladder. Bullshit. If you're on a win streak and you beat the hell out of Khamzat Chimaev, you're going to take his hype. Just like, and I'll tell you who should take that fight. Okay? Shabazian was on the hype train. And he got beat, right? And the guy that beat him should also be trying to fight Khamzat Chimaev if he thinks he can beat him. Right? But that's a big challenge, right? So Derek Brunson, that's who should be asking for Khamzat Chimaev. He should be asking for Khamzat Chimaev. He just derailed Shabazian. If he derails Khamzat Chimaev, then he's like, what's up? Keep bringing me these guys that you think are hype train, and I'll keep smashing their little lights out. But I think Shabazian is a good matchup. Put Shabazian in there with him, right? That's what I think. But yeah, so anyway, Khabib owes Conor the same way that Conor owes Jose Aldo. The same way that Nate Diaz owes Conor. Same way that Masvidal owes Darren Till, Ben Askren, Nate Diaz. Okay? You steal hype from guys you fight and the guys that you beat. But the hype needs to be there for you to take it from them. Okay? Conor has more hype than anyone has ever had in the history of the sport at a multiple. Okay? At a multiple. Holly Holm, had she not lost her next fight after she kicked Ronda Rousey's head off, would have been a massive superstar. Like, that, as a matter of fact, I think that you're gonna be hard pressed to find a person whose career was more damaged by a loss than Holly Holmes was by losing to Miesha Tate in that fight. I'm gonna say that, and I'm gonna feel pretty confident in that, actually. Hard pressed to find someone whose career was more damaged by a single loss than that. Anyway, so that's what I've got. There's nothing disrespectful about saying that Khabib owes Conor, because he does. There needed to be a reason for everyone to look at the television so that they learned that they loved Khabib. Okay? And Conor was that reason. If you don't understand that, then you're out of your mind. Okay? No, but his fan base is all Muslim. Okay, well, you think Muslims didn't know who Conor was? Like, they weren't watching before that. Okay, they weren't watching before that. They were watching because Conor is such a spectacle who just fought Floyd Mayweather, and now they hear, oh, and now he's fighting Khabib Nurmagomedov, and he's Muslim and he's from Russia. Okay, well, I kind of hate Conor, so let's see what this guy's about. And then boom, it's like, oh my God, he's ice cold. He's undefeated. Look at how he's handling Conor. He's a boss. Okay, so I'm not saying that like like he has no responsibility for his fan base, but Conor is the reason they all started to look in the first place. And then he earned it himself. He earned it 100%, but he owes the eyeballs to Conor. There's just nothing controversial about that, right? Nothing controversial. Masvidal a year ago, whatever, 15 months ago, was not on anyone's radar. He went into the O2 Arena and he knocked out Darren Till, and people were like, whoa. Then he jump-kneed Askren, and people were like, whoa. Then he beat Nate Diaz. What do all three of those guys have in common? They're all huge names. That's why he became the biggest star in the UFC. Okay, not rocket science. But he had to win the fights, and he needed to be clever, and then he needed to beat up Leon Edwards backstage. Like, obviously Masvidal is responsible for that, but he took it from these other guys. End of story. All right, that's what I got. Subscribe to the channel, ring the bell. Peace.